Good morning, my fellow Americans. How you doing today? I hope you're doing good. Everybody calls me Granny. Even people who are not my grandchildren, but they might as well be because I care about them all. I do put up a lot of video, but it's because I'm in the last years of my life. And in these last few years, I have tried to reconnect with the world in different ways. I've reached out to people through creative things off of TikTok and used CapCut and pro editors and all of those kind of things. I've kind of tinkered a little bit with them all, as a grandma would do. You know, that's how we are. I'm sorry, I'm an old woman, and I've had major open heart surgery. So I would like to apologize for the fact that I do not, in most cases, wear a brassiere. Sorry, I'm trying to get my computer in a better position. And I don't have all the fancy gear. So I have what they call free range boobs, and I apologize if that's offensive to anybody. It's because wearing a brassiere pushes down on my heart, and when it's I would prefer wearing one. It actually, to me, looks better, but it gives me severe heart problem issues. It aggravates them, the pushing in on there and putting the weight back up on it. So I apologize for that. And as you all know, I'm trying to come up with the money to fix my teeth and maybe even get some medical care for my heart because I've been unable to. I got a notice from Social Security that in 3 years I will qualify for my Social Security retirement. Except in that letter, as I read down through it, they told me, but we can't give it to you because you're 2 credits shy of reaching your pay-in to the Social Security. So they're just going to keep all of the money that I did pay in over my lifetime. And I didn't stop working because I wanted to. Not working made it much harder on my family. And with the heart issues and the issues that I have with diabetes, I don't have major drug habits. This teeth loss is from heart disease and diabetes. And it's going to continue as I get older. It's not going to get much better, which is kind of expected. You know, you're getting older, your body is telling you, we're done eating, we're done drinking, you've reached that point where you gotta die now within some period of time. And I actually am okay with that. A lot of what I believe about aging, a lot of other people don't. Now, I tried to explain one time that my mother and I were having a conversation over beliefs. And, you know, I had told my mother, well, her belief is different than mine. Her kidneys had failed. If she continued to live longer, she would have had to go through surgery to remove them because they're dying in her body and poisoning her body. And she would have been on a machine to keep her alive. Now, in that last year that my mother was alive, she did not understand that she slept 90% of the time. And there was no interaction with anything around her, not even really her television. And she did love her television. Now, when she asked me about this, she was only a few weeks away from passing. And she said, Angel, don't you just want more? And I said, Mom, I want to live as long as my body and I have agreed for me to live. And she said, what do you mean? And I said, Mom, when you can't have any quality of life, you're not interacting with people or anyone, and you're not able to be aware of even me washing the dishes because your spirit is trying to leave your body so that your body can find peace. She, I think, took it the wrong way. No, I don't believe in using medical technology to continue a life that is already ending and the spirit is leaving. It's not even being around anymore. It's being brought back every time the person is brought back to awareness. When she would be brought back to awareness, she would talk about what she was dreaming, what she was thinking was happening around her. And that's when I realized her spirit is trying to leave. Now, my mother and my sister grew up very close, my little sister Patricia. They were interconnected in their lives very deeply throughout their whole time together. And I didn't have that with my mother. My relationship with my mother was broken into segments. And this was my reality. What was hard for me was trying to explain this to my mother, that because of this, I'm sure, we had different points of view on death. Now, this is not an easy subject for anybody to talk about, but let me ask you something. Do you think, especially if you're a young person watching my video, do you believe you're going to stay young looking your whole life? By the standards of the men who chased after me when I was younger, I guess I must have been at least above average a little bit. But I don't know. But I do know that beauty faded. I am an old woman. This camera actually makes me look younger than I look in reality. And there's no filters on. No filters. It's just me. And I like talking to you that way. Right now, without my glasses on, all I see is a blurry me on the camera, okay? I can't read the numbers. Nothing is clear. And my doctor my optometrist has said, well, this is natural aging of your eyes and the effects of the diabetes and heart disease, which I knew that because I started losing my vision 15 years ago. It's just, I guess at some points it's better than others. Hold on, I gotta check on my dog Jack. So you're gonna hear me kind of raise my voice. Jack! He gets onto the one side of the house and you can't see him. And he loves to go in the woods. And we don't mind that he actually enjoys the woods. But we don't like the ticks that attack him. So he's come running, he's a good boy. He rarely goes out of bounds. He is no longer wearing his collar because he's home. And he comes like now when I called him. But I know that he was over by our storage area because he's now gnawing on himself. He's another flea back tonight. But I want people to understand aging. A lot of young people are told it's not okay to age. Now, out of all my aging, the only thing I want to fix is my teeth. So that when I'm on camera, I don't look like some junkie, which I'm not. I take one medication. It's prescribed. I do not mess with opioids. I have a lot of pain from a bad hip, from just too much standing and working, and it takes a toll on your body over time. And you're supposed to be able to earn enough to be able to retire and kind of lick your wounds, so to speak. But I don't have that option. I have never been able to afford that option. Now, growing old is not horrible. It's horrible on the body, I'm going to be honest. But it is not horrible. With what all I see happening in this world and all the things that come up on my YouTube, I'm glad I'm in the last years of my life. I used to be a very activist kind of person. In the early 2000s, I'm going to say maybe 2005, 2006, I was referring illegal immigrants, over 1,000 in 3 months, to the ACLU to help these people get the paperwork they needed to be in the country legally and work. So if my anti-illegal immigration offends you, I'm not saying I don't want immigrants to come into our country. I just want decent people to come in. And what Joe Biden released on our country was a mob full of corruption, violence, and terrorist ideology. Now, I call the Q plus community, not LGBT, the Q plus community an occult. Because in my eyes, it's an occult, just like the hippie movement was. And we saw what came out of that. And with the Q plus community, we are seeing, they're not reporting it to you, they're saying the numbers of suicides are lower than they've ever been. And no, they're not. They're higher. They've more than doubled for youth suicides. And aggression towards the Q plus community, as they call themselves, is getting worse, and they're feeling it. But they have come out so aggressively towards the world, the whole world, because it's not just in the United States that we're dealing with porn being taught to 6-year-old kids that should be in first grade and learning more about their alphabet, how language works, and communication skills, and they're not learning any of this. They are having Q plus grooming pushed down their throats against their parents' knowledge of it. And a lot of parents cannot afford to homeschool. I am trying to actually save up some money so that when my granddaughter, who is going to go into, I think, 2nd grade this year, maybe, I can't remember, but my son would correct me if he was here to tell me, but so that I can help contribute to their internet for the home so that she can do her school lessons, so she can continue being schooled outside of Lubbock's schooling facilities, which are so full and saturated with the woke agenda. And my kids do not want their children on puberty blockers, because when you block the puberty growth, it affects the brain negatively. When you remove these hormones or you suppress them, it can cause instability in the mental thinking and cause severe depressions and erratic behavior that was never seen prior to being put on the blockers. So if you really want to know the truth, you may have to do some real digging. Google is very limited on giving you the facts. They will give you all the spew of how good this is for your kids. And then at the bottom of your searches, if you're able to find it. So use whatever resources you can find that will tell you the truth. And stop and think, if you agree to this, if you're in a school system that allows you to even know what's happening. Because a lot of parents are not told. And they're guilted if they are told by tactics of your child's going to commit suicide if they're not enrolled in this program. But the proof is in the numbers of suicides that have happened in the 15, 16, 17, 18, and up range of children who have been subjected to this. So I do have great concerns about that. Will you, because I'm on my way out, but will you, the younger generations, have the courage to defy this Q plus and say that, yes, it's okay for same sexes to love each other, and transsexuality, which is different than transgender. Transsexuality is where a man or a woman likes and enjoys dressing like the opposite sex. But they don't say they're the opposite sex. They still say, I'm a man, I'm a woman. And I have worked with them in the workplace, and they're just normal people. This is how they like to dress. And I don't care. We're not back in the 1800s where women have to wear skirts to the floor. If a man feels comfortable and is dressed appropriately for his job, wants to wear a skirt and high heels and do his nails and his hair so he at least looks nice and is appropriate for his employment, I don't see a problem with it. And it's just an evolution of your clothing, not the person. And many of the transsexuals I knew were either gay or lesbian. That's why it was LGBT. Transsexual, not a transgender. Transgender is someone who's going to go through the entire process. And we need to regulate laws that say that no transgender can be allowed in a woman's bathroom or a woman's changing area until they have gone full transition. That was what the transgender community was missing. They wanted rights too, and I get that. I do. I get it 100%. And I'm not against it if it's done with dignity and it's done with some respect, and you're not out attacking everybody who is not transgender. The prejudice and discrimination that comes out of the Q plus organizations is actually illegal in our country, but our laws are being abolished by the AOC and the one who's going to be trying to run for Democrat president, Kamala Harris. She is into dismantling our laws as well, and her record proves it. So if you are saying, well, Biden's out now because I'm going to vote for Kamala, you better check her track record. because I can tell you it's as ugly as the AOC's. And she is awful. She has abolished and refused to prosecute criminals. But she sure as hell will attack an American citizen who is not a criminal. Oh, most definitely. Ask any business in California where her influence was the most prevalent. Ask any homeowner in California where her influence was so prevalent. So, no. I would suggest that if you're wanting to vote for a party and you're just a party favor, a cheerleader for whatever football team, you're not voting with an intelligent mind. If you are voting for someone who's got a track record of going against federal laws in place to protect American citizens, then you're as corrupt as the AOC. But if you're willing to look at the track records, now I think that Trump is a womanizer. I think he has some unethical history in his past. But you know what? I can actually look past that because he didn't change any laws to do his ugly side, because we all have it. However, he did, when he was in office, work for the American people. And even though I don't like him, I do agree with his politics. And I do think, unless the Christians get too heavy in their preaching to Americans, the Republicans actually have a chance of taking back over the country. At least for another time. It's been the time for the Democrats. It's now time for the Republicans to show their worth. So, okay, my video is getting too long. I'm almost at the max. I gotta stop. And I'm in a go mode today, so there will probably be another one after this. Okay, you guys have a great day, and I love you. And be safe, my Americans. My fellow Americans, be safe. My future Americans, be safe. My heart is with you. Even with the illegal immigrants that have come into my country, my heart is with you. And it breaks my heart to see what's happening to you. I hope you will reach out to your families that are coming in behind you and let them know what's happening to you. Because they're not getting a full story, that you're being shuttled into camps. You can't find the jobs they said that you could find. But my heart goes out to you. Remember that. Angel out. Granny says bye.